Hey guys, Frank here and welcome to another episode of How Did I Shoot This One? And today we have a setup that you probably don't suspect me doing. It's actually this shot. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful location, model, nice sunlight. But how did we shoot this one? Let's start. So, backdrops. You know that we love backdrops in our studio. It just gives it something else. Seamless is great, you can do great stuff with it, but when you have a real backdrop, there's interaction. Now, there's one kind of backdrop that I never really liked, and I have to be honest with you guys. How do I explain it correctly? For me, it always looks a little bit fake, but that's because every time I use the backdrop like this, there wasn't any depth in it, and that's what this video is about. Now, you can buy a lot of backdrops for your photography, and I see a lot of images online nowadays where people actually use real backdrops, real locations, and artificial intelligence. And sometimes you can't see the difference. So, how can you spot the difference? And in this video, I actually don't want to talk about this backdrop. I'm going to do it a little bit, but I want to talk about you guys how you can combine backdrops. Because let's be honest, I'm the kind of photographer that likes to do everything in camera, lighting-wise, backdrop-wise. I don't want to do anything in Photoshop. So the stuff that I do in Photoshop, of course, is smoothing the skin and, of course, creating the mood of my shot by using the proper tinting and changing the contrast a little bit and maybe take out some stuff that I couldn't do on the set. But most of all, I try to do it as much as possible in the set. So when somebody gives me a backdrop like, hey, this looks like a castle, I go like, yeah, but why don't you go to a castle? Because then you can shoot from different angles. But as you know, commercial photography, we sometimes have to do stuff that maybe are a little bit outside of our comfort zone or out of our, well, where we object against. And that's when we started using the backdrop that you see in this video. There's nothing wrong with the backdrop, it's great. But why is it great and why do I like this backdrop more than other backdrops? And what is the tip in this video? Well, keep watching. When we look at lighting, we always can see that lighting comes from a certain angle and certain height. Just think about the sun. You will never see somebody lit just from the bottom. Well, in Halloween lighting, but normally the sun is high up, right? But there's also an angle, like for example, early in the day the sun is low, more during the day it goes up, and of course it changes the angle. For us as photographers, the angle isn't really that important because we can just change our own position. But the height of the light and getting the right angle, that's very important. And this is one of the things that I see a lot going wrong with artificial intelligence, but also by using backdrops like this one. You have to look at the backdrop. So if the backdrop is like this backdrop, really bright and you can see the lines of the light going, make sure that you place your light under exactly the same angle. Now with this backdrop, that creates real magic. And in all honesty, I was 100% surprised because again, I'm not a big fan of these kinds of backdrops. But now that I've seen this one, I'm really a big fan because the depth is really there. So how do we get the depth so convincing and why doesn't it work on a lot of artificial intelligence backdrops? The first thing you have to realize, when you start to use backdrops, there's something called the inverse square law. Light falls off over the distance, right? But there's also something called the depth of field and the circle of confusion. And that means where is the part sharp in the image and where is the part a little bit blurred. Now when we look at our models and we shoot it on, let's say f4, you can see that the eyes are razor sharp, but the ears are already getting a little bit of that fuzzy, beautiful blur. And then you have a backdrop that's pin sharp. And that doesn't work. Now you may not see it, but your brain does. And your brain somehow goes like, I don't know, this doesn't compute, it doesn't work. So when you use a painted backdrop, you will find out that most of the time those backdrops are not 100% razor sharp. Some people will go like, hey, that backdrop is a little bit soft, I don't want it. That's the whole idea of that backdrop, dude. It has to be a little bit soft because the model is in front of it. And you're not shooting a model on f16, you're shooting it on f4, maybe 2.8 for the beautiful, nice shallow depth of field. And then we have a backdrop behind her that's already a little bit softer. That already works on f16, f11, f8, but also on 2.8. And then you have to find out where is the light coming from. I see so many beautiful high contrast images. And then you look at the backdrop and at first you go like, yeah, that looks nice. And then you look closer and you go like, hey, why is the light on the model coming from there? And this is totally dark, and then the light on the backdrop is coming from there. That's weird, right? So when you buy a black backdrop, or when you are actually creating a backdrop in artificial intelligence, make sure that you know what is your preference. Now, my preference is always to shoot in a certain way in landscape. Now, why? Very simple. In the Western world, we read from the left top to the bottom right. So that means that I love to have my model on the right side of the frame looking to the left. That means that she's stuck in that frame. So you as a viewer, look at your model and then you go back. Remember that bright red logo we always use? That's there for a reason. You have to go back to that logo and go up again. So that means that when you look at the image, you can't leave the image. But it also means that when I use a backdrop, I want a backdrop that has lighting also following that route. And that's exactly what happens in this backdrop. And I think a properly designed photography backdrop takes into account where the light is coming from and also for which market it's sold. Because if the light is hitting the other way, you could say, oh, we just inverse the backdrop. In some prints that's possible, but what about when you see some text and that's also reversed? That doesn't look nice, right? So, save yourself a lot of time, and when you find a backdrop that you like, make sure that you follow the lines of the lighting when you start shooting it. Let's take a look at the behind the scenes video so you can see how we set up this setup. And as you will quickly see, it's a very simple setup. It's just one light source, but it works in this case because the whole backdrop breeds that big light coming in from a window. And do remember, because we don't see the window, it doesn't mean there wasn't a window. So, as a photographer, I call that the soap opera effect. What you don't show in your shot, you can just place lighting there because nobody knows that there wasn't a window there, right? Or there wasn't one. I don't know. Let's go to the behind the scenes video. So as you can see, a super easy setup, and in all honesty, a backdrop that really surprised me. It's not just shooting a full body model on there. As you can see, we also zoomed in. And just like with a normal backdrop, make sure that nothing is growing out of her head. So no pillars, no plants, and still make sure that you have a proper composition. So, backdrops, well, even printed ones are now in our studio, and I actually like them. So even when you have a long career like me, you can still change your mind about something as long as it's printed the right way and you set your lighting the right way. It's very convincing, and for commercial shoots, this works like a charm. Thank you so very much for watching, and see you next time. Hey guys, so we have this YouTube channel and every week we upload several videos. Now, when we look at the statistics, you absolutely love our videos. We always get positive reviews, but we don't have a lot of subscribers yet. So what you can do is like, subscribe, but most of all, tell other people about our channel so we can grow. Because the more subscribers we have, the more material we can put online. So, tell your friends about our channel. And of course, there's one thing I still forgot. Also, press the bell notification button. Because we also go live at least once a month with our digital classroom episodes. So, help us out, like, subscribe, tell other people about our channel, and hit the bell notification button. See you again next time. Bye guys.